It's time to change how you see failure. I know it's tough. Failure feels like a heavy weight dragging you down. Trust me, I've been there. I used to think failure meant I was a failure. I'd beat myself up, convinced I was stuck in a never-ending loop of disappointment. But here's the thing, failure isn't as black and white as we often think. It's subjective. What feels like a setback to one person might just be a stepping stone to someone else. When I started shifting my perspective, things began to change. I still face failures, but they don't define me. They're just part of my journey, and I want you to see it the same way. Keep watching, and I'll share how you can turn those setbacks into comebacks. Trust me, it's worth it. Understanding what failure feels like. First off, know that you're not alone in feeling this way. Many of us have been there. It's common to feel like a failure when things don't go as planned. I felt it myself, and it's not easy. But what's important to remember is that how we define failure can change. Now, not everyone understands this, but failure can feel different for everyone. For some, it might be a constant sense of self-doubt. You might question your abilities or worry about never measuring up. Others experience a deep sense of hopelessness, where it feels like things will never get better. There's also the creeping feeling of anxiety, making you constantly worry about what's next. Sometimes, failure brings on feelings of depression or a strong desire to give up. It might make you feel embarrassed or ashamed, as if everyone is watching and judging you. Pessimism can set in, making it hard to see any positive outcomes. Harsh self-talk can become a habit, where you criticize yourself for not meeting expectations. I know from experience how these emotions can be overwhelming. It's like carrying a heavy weight that just doesn't go away. But what's important is to understand that these feelings don't define you. They are temporary, and they don't reflect your true worth or potential. The key is to acknowledge these feelings without letting them control you. By changing how you view failure, you can start to see it as a stepping stone rather than an end point. Each setback is an opportunity to learn and grow. But do you know what fuels the feeling of failure? Let's get real. Feeling like a failure is something we've all been through, and it's tough. But understanding why you feel this way is the first step to turning things around. Often those feelings go much deeper than the situation at hand. One big culprit: comparison thinking. We've all done it, scrolling through social media and feeling like everyone else has it all figured out while we're just trying to keep up. Comparison is the thief of joy, as the saying goes, and it's true. Social media only shows the highlights, not the full story. Did you know that around 90% of women and 60% of men admit to comparing themselves to others online? It's a common struggle, but being aware of it can help you focus on your own journey instead of someone else's. Unrealistic expectations are another factor. Setting goals is great, but if they're too high, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. I've been guilty of aiming too high without considering my own limits. The key is to break your goals into smaller, achievable steps. Rome wasn't built in a day, right? Celebrate the little wins along the way, and you'll feel more accomplished. Then there's the voice in your head, negative self-talk. If you're constantly beating yourself up, you're only making things worse. I've been my own harshest critic, and all it did was make me feel like I was digging a deeper hole. Catch yourself when those negative thoughts start creeping in, and flip the script. Talk to yourself like you would a friend, with kindness and encouragement. You are your own worst enemy, but you can also be your best cheerleader. Another common trap is the all-or-nothing mindset. This way of thinking can make it seem like you're either a total success or a complete failure, with no in-between. But life doesn't work that way. Success is often a series of small steps, not one giant leap. Even if you're not where you want to be yet, think about how far you've come. Every small victory is a step forward. Past experiences and failures can also weigh you down. I've had moments where I let past disappointments color how I saw new challenges. It's easy to carry that baggage with you, but it's important to remember that every new situation is a fresh start. Don't let yesterday take up too much of today. And let's not forget about judgment, which is quite common in today's world. Worrying about what others think can paralyze you. Eve held back from pursuing certain goals because I was afraid of what people might say. But here's the thing, everyone faces judgment at some point. Don't let it stop you from doing what's right for you. You wouldn't worry so much about what others think of you if you realized how seldom they do. Lastly, societal pressures can make you feel like you're not measuring up. Society sets these standards that can feel impossible to meet, but your path is your own, and there's no one-size-fits-all timeline. Your only limit is you. So focus on what works for you, not what you think you should be doing according to someone else's rules. So it's not just about recognizing what's causing your feelings of failure, but also about finding ways to counteract these influences. Lessons from the greats. Before I drop some golden nuggets that have actually made a difference for me, let's take a moment to look at some of my favorite people who turned their failures into incredible success stories. They remind us that setbacks can be the stepping stones to greatness. Take Michael Jordan, for example. Today, he's known as one of the greatest basketball players ever. But did you know he was cut from his high school basketball team? Imagine how different things could have been if he had given up. Instead, Jordan used that rejection as fuel. He famously said, "I have missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I have lost almost 300 games. On 26 occasions, I have been entrusted to take the game-winning shot, and I missed. I have failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." The man basically turned his initial failures into a legendary career. Then there's Stephen King. He's a common name in horror fiction, but his journey to success wasn't smooth. His first book, Carrie, was rejected by publishers 30 times. That's right, 30 rejections. It wasn't until the 31st attempt, with his wife's encouragement, that he finally got published. King didn't let repeated rejection stop him. He kept pushing forward. And now his books are bestsellers and have been adapted into famous films. Then there's Vincent van Gogh, another powerful example. During his lifetime, Van Gogh sold just one painting. He struggled with poverty and never saw the fame his work would eventually achieve. Despite these challenges, he created over 800 paintings. Today, his artwork is priceless and celebrated worldwide. Van Gogh's dedication and passion for his art shine through his work, showing us that success often comes after relentless effort and persistence. Oprah Winfrey's story is equally inspiring. Did you know before she became a global icon, she was fired from her job as a news anchor? This failure could have ended her career, but Oprah used it as a learning experience. She went on to build a media empire and become one of the most influential figures in the world. Her story shows that failure can be a powerful motivator. So now, whenever I face setbacks, I remember these incredible individuals and their resilience. They remind me that every failure is an opportunity to learn, grow, and eventually succeed. So if you're struggling right now, take heart. Your setbacks might just be setting you up for something great. Keep pushing forward and let your failures be your greatest teachers. Embracing failure as your greatest teacher. We live in a world that celebrates success and often hides failures. Social media is full of highlight reels, making it easy to feel like we're falling behind. But what if we flipped the script? What if we saw failure not as a dead end, but as our greatest teacher? Trust me, this shift in perspective can change everything. First, let's talk about that inner voice, because we've all been there. You know, those moments when your self-talk is way too harsh. Failure can feel overwhelming when your thoughts are telling you that you're not good enough. But here's the thing. You need to challenge those thoughts. Ask yourself, am I confusing thoughts with facts? Am I expecting perfection? Start questioning these automatic negative thoughts, or ants, as I like to call them. You'll find that most of the time, they're not based on reality. So why let them control your perspective? Let me give you a golden nugget of advice. Acknowledge your progress, no matter how small. It's so easy to get stuck in an all-or-nothing mindset, where you see either complete success or total failure. I've been guilty of this myself, focusing only on what didn't go right and ignoring the progress I made. Instead, celebrate the small wins. Reflect on how far you've come, the skills you've gained, or the lessons you've learned. You might not be where you want to be yet, but look at how much closer you are now. Now here's another nugget. Embrace failure as a learning opportunity. Failure isn't the end, it's feedback. When things don't go as planned, take a step back and analyze what went wrong. Use your strengths and work on your weaknesses. I've learned to see failures as stepping stones, not setbacks. Each failure is just another chance to refine your approach and keep moving forward. Gratitude. Now this one's powerful. Research shows that practicing gratitude can decrease depression, reduce stress, and boost optimism. Start a gratitude journal where you jot down a few things you're thankful for each day. Even in failure, find the silver lining. Or try habit stacking. Pair your new gratitude practice with an existing habit, like thinking of things you're grateful for while brushing your teeth. Trust me, this simple shift can bring so much positivity into your life. Another tip is to set SMART goals. That stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. When your goals are clear and realistic, you're setting yourself up for success. Break them down into small, manageable steps and keep track of your progress. This keeps you motivated and helps you navigate through any feelings of failure. Surround yourself with a supportive network. Sometimes, all it takes is an outside perspective to lift you up. Find people who encourage you, who see your strengths when you can't. They can offer a new angle on your situation and remind you that you're stronger than you think. Here's a nugget that's been a game changer for me. Practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself, especially during tough times. Treat yourself like you would a close friend. Remember, everyone makes mistakes, and you deserve patience and forgiveness. Take time for self-care, use positive affirmations, and nurture yourself. It's amazing how much of a difference this can make. And finally, invest in your growth. Failure isn't the end. It's a chance to grow. Embrace a growth mindset, one that sees failure as a motivator, not a barrier. This mindset will keep you moving forward, pushing you to become a better version of yourself. One last nugget: create a confidence toolkit. Fill it with things that inspire you, a list of your strengths, a personal vision statement, positive notes from friends, uplifting quotes, or even a favorite song or podcast. Reflect on challenges you've overcome in the past to remind yourself that you've got this. So by changing how you view failure and following these nuggets of advice, you can turn setbacks into powerful lessons. Embrace failure as your teacher and let it fuel your growth and confidence. Remember, every failure is just another step closer to success and self-discovery. Keep pushing forward. You've got this. What do you think is your biggest failure? And how do you think you will overcome it after watching this video? Comment down below. And if you think someone else could benefit from this video, don't forget to share it with them. After all, we have to ascend together.